Yo, what is up, everybody? I hope everything's working. I just got back in from my Milwaukee trip, and I realized I had everything in my my luggage, my backpack. So hooking up everything. Hopefully everything is good. You guys can hear me. I don't think the kids messed up my desk too much, so we can get started. This live stream. Let me pull up, and I lost my mouse plug. Is brought to you by FASTSTAT. So we'll kind of get into a few things here and there. But if you didn't know, FASTSTAT is these HVAC wiring extenders, which basically, if you guys don't have a common and you're trying to hook up a Wi-Fi thermostat, you have a. What happens to me a lot is the wires are. It's not enough conductors for a two-stage, something like that on the commercial side. And you need that extra wire. They have a model that does that. I see my kids messed up my sign over here. Um, kids. So yeah, if you need any of that stuff, FastStat has you covered with a common maker. You can get an extra wire. You can get an extra two wires, all the way up to heat pump applications, without any added things. There's no Wi-Fi. There's nothing to connect to. There's no app. There's no batteries. None of that. So if you guys are interested in that solution, I wish I've had that a few times working in restaurants where I can't pull out wires. It's not safe because there's insulation in all these ceilings, and I can't be moving ceiling tiles to fix that wire. You can just throw a FASTSTAT in there, get them by, get to the next call, charge them. You always um what do you call that? Pass the cost to the customer, and to them, I think it's a disservice not to give them an option like that, where it's like, hey, we can do the whole rip, the hard way, I guess, for some things, right? Rip out everything. And it could be for anything else, not just like this wire extender or anything specific, but it could be anything. It could be like, hey, we got to spend a lot of time doing this, or we have a backup option, which is always good to have in your back pocket. So I feel like it's a disservice if you don't give your customer options. We've heard that before. You're not being a good technician. You're not being an honest technician if you don't have options. So I'm not trying to push this on anybody, but if you don't have options for your customers, you're not doing your job. So I'll get into the chat right now, but I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. Check out FastStat. I have links down below, and you guys can see for yourself. I do have a couple of videos actually showing how to install them on a trainer board, them actually working and showing how it gives you that power and still gives you whatever wire you stole. Like, it works both ways. I forgot my mouse doesn't work. So what is up, everybody? Let me pull up my YouTube page so I can quickly shout out the members here. We got our channel members, which is basically, for now, until I can figure out, I'm trying really hard to get into more content stuff, which I'll kind of talk a little bit about, because I did take that trip to Milwaukee. That was an invite to go tour their facility, which you cannot record anything, which sucks. We got a basically a rundown of how they make things. We saw a bunch of stuff that was in the, I wouldn't say assembly line, but in like the testing area. So we saw these batteries taken apart. We saw these tools taken apart. How they make even the bits, drill bits. They took us through the machinery of that. They have in-house 3D printing to test the size or like the ergonomics, and then they have actual I forgot what it's called, but this molding and printing that actually is like 90% there of the final product. They like to do, from what I was told, like 3 generations of a product in-house before it even goes to market. So a lot of stuff that goes into it. It was incredible to see, and it was very insightful, eye-opening. I also did do a podcast with them. It was supposed to be for their podcast. I ended up being the host because I had the experience. I was like, cool, let's run with it. And we got a really good episode on HVAC. So they let me gear it towards HVAC tools, what we would want to see from Milwaukee, what they got going on and what they're working on. So that podcast, that's on them. They got to put it together, edit it. I get the video afterwards, and I'll be repurposing it and kind of showing you guys clips of it, showing you guys when they post it, all that kind of stuff. So I am super excited for that episode because there wasn't a lot of HVAC guys there. There was very little representation, and we don't even have banners, or we're not one of the main pillars on all the all the visuals they have and stuff. So try to be as adamant as I can for the HVAC space. I do love what they're doing, like specifically in the past few years. So very excited for that. But I've been trying to be more into content creation, um, things like that, because I have another trip next month for, I believe that one's also kind of like a podcast type of deal where I get to interview another big company, go out there, take a trip, and basically work. Because even on this one, as soon as we landed, and I went overnight because the flight was at 5 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I landed, they put us to work. They had an itinerary, and it was like, you get here, you got to do the welcome thing, you got to do the dinner, you got to do the event. Then you got to go to the next day. You have breakfast, you have the shuttle, the bus. Like every hour we had something to do. I didn't get a break. And the first day that we got in, I didn't get a break, or we didn't get a break until super late that night when we were actually going to go to bed. So it's a lot of work, but I'm trying to basically, what I've said is go all in this year on content. So obviously I'm still in the field. I still run a business that still has to go on. And I'm trying to build up, working with these companies like Milwaukee, like Vito, like Diversitech, Hillmore, getting into the software companies because I do run a business, and seeing if those work out for us. And then also podcasting, building that up. So that's what I was focused on this year, is just working hard, and then after work, building up a brand. So I appreciate everybody for, everybody that's here, everybody that watches the videos. I'll have a video on the Milwaukee stuff in a few days, and then I'll have like I said, that podcast, whenever it comes out, I'll let you guys know. I do want to thank the channel members. What I was trying to say is they get first access because those videos are already uploaded. I already edit them. There's 2 videos up right now. If you are a channel member, you get to watch those first. And if I have to do any revisions, I take it down, put it back up. So you might see it uploaded a few times until it's actually ready to post and it goes out to the public. So if you guys are a channel member, that's kind of the perk right now. I'm trying to get into more, like I said, being a content creator and focusing more on the channel, and like specifically the YouTube channel, so I can offer you guys that are members a few more things in the future. But I do want to thank Gary Carnell, D Tolls, Mark Morales, B1062, Darwin Hooks, True Results, HTX, Brian, Chevy Runner 88, Rage Metal Freak, Lost But One, Vlazer, Phil Hall, and Mark Harris. I appreciate you guys. And it's super cheap to join. It's just helpful when I gotta, ship out things and come up with the new shirt designs. That stuff is not cheap. It's not free. So, it goes a long way. Oh, what happened to my comments? Let's see. Yeah, HVAC is an afterthought with Milwaukee and Klein. They are doing quite a bit at Milwaukee. I can't talk about Klein because I've never worked with them, but Milwaukee, because one of my points was like, why hasn't any other company, HVAC, specifically, you don't have Fieldpiece, you don't have Yellow Jacket, you don't have JB, you don't have even Navac, you don't have any of them doing a battery powered recovery machine. Who's the first and only one to offer it? You're going to be able to get it early next year. It's Milwaukee, of course. Like, who would have thunk that they were going to be the first one to do it? I would have guessed Navac or even Yellow Jacket or JB, especially with JB doing the battery powered pump. But Milwaukee's coming in really close, and they understand from what I've talked with. I did, like, it was nice to see a lot of the guys there, but most of them were electricians, plumbers, and I know quite a bit of them, so we did get to hang out, catch up, and stuff like that. But I was really there to talk to the Milwaukee people and just kind of be in their ear. And from what I hear, that is one of the next trades, next up, that's going to get a lot of push from their research and development and what they want to bring to market. They said everything is on the table because I joked with them, like, manifolds and probes. And my thing is, I would love for them to do, because they already have the tubing cutters, right? The battery powered tubing cutters, battery powered. What was the other one? Oh, they had something else, but like I would love to see, well, the pump, right? The vacuum pump. I would love to see them do the tube expanders, because I went battery powered with Navac and I won't go back. So expanders, benders, because they did. Um, I think they've already unveiled it, but they had there for us to look at the conduit bender. So that one looks a lot like, I want to say it's called Rem's tool. I don't know if you guys watch Instagram. It's Flintstone and Jeff Jadem, all those install guys that do the condensers real nice and neat. They use a bender that's kind of a big bender, and it's battery powered. So it's on like a little tripod, and they can put the pipe, big pieces of pipe in it and bend it all, different ways that they want to. And that's what this looked like. It was just for conduit instead. So it was for the electricians, of course. And it did really cool, things. And they have some cool features that I don't think other companies think about for safety, right? Auto zero, auto stop, a lot of different things. And I was telling them, because you'll see it in the video when it comes out this week, because I did record my little conversations with them. It's like, hey, this looks a lot like some of the copper benders out there, and there's some handheld ones that I really like the Navac bender. When are we going to see Milwaukee? And they were like, we're working on it, is the answer that I got. So really excited that they could, because one thing I hate is I have a ton of Milwaukee batteries on the van. Navac batteries, I don't really carry the charger, or if I do, it's always like thrown around somewhere. I don't have a place for it because I don't charge them that often. So just be nice to have one platform for everything, right? So fingers crossed. Finger snatcher. I've never used it, that battery powered tubing cutter, but it looks cool. It's probably going to be okay. I don't think, because to them, you can recover up to 10 pounds, which, again, if you do any larger systems, now 10 pounds covers most of what I do on light commercial, but I know it gets up there when you guys have longer line sets, right? A residential system, you don't think of it, but if a system is on the smaller side, even if it's 5 tons in that range, And the thing is, you got multiple stories, you got, all these longer line sets. That's when you run into that issue where you might have a little bit more um to put in, or those bigger package systems, like you might have more to use. I don't see it on light commercial. I see 6 pounds, even as low as 4 pounds on some of these, 8, 9 pounds. That's typically the range that I see. So if it can do up to 10 pounds, it's going to cover most people. So my set of tools, the battery powered vacuum pump being one of them. I do use a 2 CFM and I do use a 5 CFM. The 2 CFM, I can get away with almost anything if I have the time, because it's not as quick. But typically I'm cleaning up. I work alone a lot, or I work with my brother on these installs, right? So typically we either take a break if we have nothing to do, which works out really good because we can take a lunch or take a little like a quick lunch, a quick bite, or go get something from the supply house or whatever it is in the time that it's vacuuming, and it'll be done by that time. Like, I don't need a 2 CFM, doesn't make me run it, doesn't take any longer. It doesn't make me run it like several hours. Like, I can still get it done 30, 40 minutes max, but once you get that 5 CFM, that one goes by a lot quicker. So whichever one I use, I typically am cleaning up or taking a break or doing something, and that works out for me. Like, the guys that do big systems, obviously you're gonna have to use corded. So you're gonna have to use, what Jason uses, right? A nice big recovery machine, a subcooler, big hoses, big recovery tanks, like that. There's no way around it. This is more for like, or in my mind is like the other battery powered stuff is for like light commercial, residential, where you're not running crazy line sets. That's kind of the market for now until they can, make them or improve them, because I don't think they were we'll see. Because I would say like it needs maybe a second generation to be like perfect. But how many times have we seen in our space like the next model or the next generation come out? Like, it doesn't happen. Usually they put all their money into that first gen and it's there for years, right? Look at Field Piece, you look at Yellow Jacket in particular. JB has some new stuff, but a lot of the stuff is older. Hillmore, I've been saying, is really reliable, really good. Like, they have really good products, but they're a little dated, right? The charging, the micro USB charging, there's no fast charging. There's nothing fancy on them, but they work. So they keep them like that. So I hope so too. I hope that recovery doesn't go crazy, doesn't overheat all the time. I hope they kind of manage that. From what I understand, they do extreme testing, and they kind of showed what they could, explained everything else. He did tell me like how they test some of this stuff. So stuff that I can't record or talk about from Milwaukee, but I would assume it's in good hands, right? Because just from the tour, like, they do so much, and I know their competitors are not doing that. And I had a nice, I pulled one aside that is in charge of HVAC plumbing, and actually made or brought the recovery machine design and to market and everything. And we talked about JB, Field Piece, and Navac. And I'm still a little bit salty with Field Piece. Can do whatever they want right now because nobody else can touch them, if I'm being honest. But um JB has the plastic that breaks, and people made a good comment in my videos like, "Hey, are we the guinea pigs?" Which sucks, right? That's why I said Milwaukee says they do about 3 generations before they even bring it out to make sure that it works. It is Their tools are in the field with contractors that they have, and that's kind of like, I guess, technically on the down low. Like, these guys are not supposed to post about it or anything. They get these test products, so they do put them out in the field. Whereas like I don't think JB does that. And if they do, these 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 technicians must not actually work. Same thing with Navac. I'm not gonna hold back on Navac because as soon as because I bought those, JB sent them out to me and I showed them. They were upset, but I was like, I'm not gonna hide the fact that they broke. Right? Like they were kind of upset. We'll see if they send me the second gen because they did upgrade the plastic, and they said, yeah, you're on the list. We want you to test them out. Right? Post about them. I'm sure they want me to say that they're way better, but they were upset. JB was upset and or disappointed. And Navac, I don't think was mad, but they had to make a lot of revisions because as soon as I bought them and I used them, immediately found like a ton of things that I didn't like or that didn't work. So they've gone back. They don't want me to share the email that I got, Navac, but I did receive an email that they took my advice from the videos on the probes and they're making changes, and the flex gauges, they are going to make changes. And I hate to say this, but you're going to have to buy the updated version. So on Navac, they told me they couldn't do software updates, which I don't think I mentioned it because they were like I said, they weren't upset, but they didn't want me sharing everything. I was giving them some time to release these updates, but I haven't seen either one. I did check in and they're still working on this stuff, but yeah, Navac was telling me that those gauges that everybody got, those nice pretty ones with the digital readout and display, there's going to be I don't want to call it a Gen 2, but like a version 1.2. And it's only going to be the ones that they produce after they get rid of the first batch. So you're going to have like a night mode, you're going to have like more control over the display, but that cannot be updated via firmware, I was told. So again, I'm just upset because I love technology. I love new stuff. I love, trying out new things, going digital. I'm all probes now, so I'm excited to use this kind of stuff. And Navac was really promising a lot on the stuff that they had coming out, and it was to me disappointing. So yeah, a field piece, so good, hard to make it better. Put a screen on them. That's about it. True. I would not make them rechargeable. Keep the batteries. Um, or at least in my mind, unless they have like a way to charge all of them together, like with one cable or something else. You don't have to do much. Like put a screen on them. There was something else that I had thought of, but like there's not much to do to them. Improve the range, that kind of stuff. What I like is Navac's approach on the probes. Once they do figure out, all the magnet and the logistics of it, the app, they finally fixed it. But I do like that theirs shows the pressure and the saturated temperature on the screen versus JB's that only shows the pressure readout. I would like to have you can set a default. Maybe some guys only work on 410, maybe some guys only work on 454, whatever it is. I have to switch it all the time anyway, but like it'd be cool because most of the stuff I work on is either 404 or 410, so I can kind of leave it on one of those and maybe have a button that gives you like a see if Navac did it right. Like I said, pressure and saturated temperature you get on the display and it tells you what refrigerant you're picked. So you have a power button, I think, on that one, and a I don't know if it's a menu button or something else. Add like a up and down button or even just a down button, and you can cycle maybe through your favorites, cycle through the most common ones. You can set it maybe, just have it to where you don't need the phone whatsoever. Like make it so you don't need the phone, and you can scroll on the probe itself and see the refrigerant, the saturation temperature, and the pressure. That would be perfect. If anybody could do that, that would be perfect. Well, that one, I'm kind of that one. I didn't see a point in it. I know. I said like batteries are usually better, and I do prefer batteries if it dies because I always carry like a. I have a little like box of like double A's and triple A's. But I think you guys had mentioned it last time. When's the last time you charged a leak detector? Like I charge them every few months. I think so. I don't think we needed it there. You could say the same on the probes. It's just to me like on the probes, if you're using your probes and if you're using the clamps regularly, they're all gonna die around the same time. So I would hate to charge each one by one. So I mean, they do sell cables that give you like multiple ports on it, right? You can just plug in all four or whatever and plug it in and charge them at the same time. So that's just, my 2 cents. Wireless micron gauge. Yeah. JB makes good pumps. The micron gauge looks nice. I don't like the manifold. I do like the probes. They just broke. So I do carry the probes in my tool pouch. So I have the MPMX and they fit perfect on the sides. I don't carry the clamps because typically that's like a quick check bag and I just need to, go up to a unit, make sure it's working. And if it's not working, is it tripped on high head pressure? Is it, low on charge? Is it flat? So I carry the high and low pressure probe in that tool bag, no clamps. And they work fine. Like they're decent probes. I have to they're covered in black tape because they cracked. I don't want them to I want them to actually work and be usable. And I'll gladly use them until they're completely dead. Unless they are gonna send over the new ones like they promised, so I can do an update. Because people have been asking me, I was like, yeah, I'll do an update on the JBs, and I'll do an update on the Navax once they fix everything. I never bought the gas main because I never heard good things. I mean, you don't have too many options with um, that type of leak detector. But if you have the Stratus, I think that would be the way to go. You just get the sensors for it. Um, yeah, every 6 months on the DR82. That's what I'm saying. You don't charge it often, so again, I'm all for removable batteries. In case it dies for something you use, like you use probes every day. So like if it dies, that sucks. A leak detector is a little different. That new field piece. I'm not sure if I want it, but I probably should get it. I had a little cheap top test for gas for like R290 and 600 and stuff, but I haven't had a leak to kind of. I need to calibrate it, make sure it still works. Um, because if not, I need to get that field piece because it looks nice. I think you just change like the mode on it and it automatically switches over. So that's really cool. I am going to give up my field piece to my brother because I want to say he had one of them, either an Inficon or an Ellie, might have been an Ellie Tech. I was like, you can have my field piece. I have the Hilmore one. That's the one that I trust the most. People do ask me all the time. And I do like the Hilmore one. It's just outdated because it has a micro USB charger that I hate, but it's reliable. It works really good. I love the field piece one. The only bad thing is the wand broke on me, I think from the heat, but it was easily repairable. You can buy it off Amazon. I have that linked, I think in my tool link. If you guys ever break your field piece wand, I think they're two different parts though. Like depending on which one you have, make sure you buy the right one. A couple like 3 screws and you can replace it. So easy to fix. Yeah. DR82 was a good one, but the new one is nice. Love my JB vacuum pump. Yeah, Jason, they make awesome pumps. I kind of want that Flex one, the battery powered. But I got the Milwaukee and that one does really well. Oh, that's what they should add. Field piece on their next probes, they should add a screen and a charge port. Now it's just annoying when you have to go back to get the T because sometimes I'll forget the little charging T for my probes. Whereas like on the JB, other than them being a little fragile, it's really nice because you just grab a hose and you're ready to charge. So I've topped off like when we do repairs or you know, little things here and there, we can just quickly charge it up with the JB probes. They only give a crap about sales. Oh, cause they got upset. Oh man. So so I do want to make it clear. Like I don't say yes to everything, right? So I love Field Piece. I love, Navac. I do like JB. I do like Yellow Jacket. And I can't buy everything, right? Like I buy what I buy, which when I started was Field Piece and Hillmore, and I did have a Yellow Jacket recovery. But I buy what I get interested in. I really like the Field Piece, a lot of the Field Piece stuff, and I did like a lot of the Hillmore stuff, which I really want them to update a few of the things, right? But I don't know everything because some people have asked me about other brands, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a reason to buy it, and I can't test it. But yeah, they were. I've had companies that get upset, and the way I typically do things is it's because now a lot of the stuff is paid for, and I'll tell them if I don't like it, either I still record. I have one in particular right now that I'm trying to make sure that they don't pay me so that I can actually post it. So I'm telling them like, don't worry about it. But anyway, yeah, if they pay me, then they try to. A lot of them do try to tell you you can only say good things. So if it's somebody like Phil Peace or any of the big names, I agree to it only if I do like it. So like if they send it, I like it. Obviously, there's no issue. I can give you like a pros and cons type of deal. But if I genuinely like it, then there's no problem with the company, right? Because I use it and I enjoy it. With JB and Navac, when I had issues, I made sure not to get any payment because then they can't tell me what to do, and I'm able to post. And I did tell them ahead of time, but I purposely always do it like the day before. I tell them, hey, this happened, and then boom, the next day it's posted. That way they can't stop it. So, um, yeah, I have no reason to lie. Had to replace the one. Yeah, I've had several messages about that. I was like, yeah, man, because like I'm not paying the field piece tax on that, right? Because I forgot what it cost, but it was going to cost way more. Only field piece I like is the recovery machine. Give them credit for that. Yeah, it's nice. Now I want to try the Navac one because they made a lighter and quicker one, but there's nothing wrong with the field piece. So yeah, I do have a leak detector. If you guys have paid attention, I know several, and I'm not trying to call anybody out because I think they've been honest. there's several creators reviewing this new leak detector that does everything, and it's not a name brand. That was sent out to me too. They offered to pay me for it, and they haven't paid yet. So I'm telling them, pump the brakes, because I can't recommend it. And it's in a video, like a work video. So I'm gonna do the work video, and you're gonna see that it doesn't work as well as my other leak detector. But I just want to make sure they're aware so they don't like pay me for it. Oh, 135 for the wand. Yeah, screw that. We trust your honest opinion, so if you lie, you're only ripping us off. See the and I don't know, like, well, this is a, it's a Sunday night stream. We're kicking back. There's not really a rhyme or reason to this show, but just really quick, anytime that anything gets sent over or pitched right in my emails, because I was going through them right now, if it's like because like the latest one was Testo sent me the thermal imager. I actually do like it. Now it's not the smallest leak detector I've ever used. I mean thermal imager I've ever used, and I had one here somewhere. I just don't know where I left it. So it's not the smallest, but it is nice, and it's not the clearest, and it's not the um quickest, but I do like it. I think the strongest point, or the strength of that Testo thermal imager that just came out, is that it works with their app. I do really like their app. Even though I don't use it because I don't have Testo products, I had them at one point and I really liked their app. And now they've added so much to it to where the thermal imager they have works with it. So, it's been cool. It's been cool, and it is in my tool bag. You'll see it in my tool bag. I do like it. But with that, it's like, if I like it, I'll show it, and it is what it is, right? Like, if it's either good or it's bad, and we post it, we see what it does, and you guys make your own decision. I'm not pushing anything, so company paid for it. No, I like it. I don't want to get rid of it. And I do like their new gauges, the new ones that are in color, the digital ones. Those are nice. They're in color. They do everything that they should do, and they're super compact. So I might eventually try those. But yeah, like if anybody, like I said, if any company pitches me anything or wants me to try anything, it's supposed to be an honest opinion, and I try to post it if I like it, or if I can give you like a pros and cons. Like with the JB ones, I just had to tell you guys, do not buy it, right? Um, and the Navac ones, like, nothing was updated, so wait if you're gonna buy it. But yeah, I mean, all these companies are kind of like that. The really good ones, which Testa was, they were okay with me being honest. Those companies are awesome, and there's not too many of them. The new Infocon leak detector is a bad mofo. Uh, where do you see it for 35? I looked it up. It is $5,000. Uh, Rick tried to correct me that it was $4,500, but like with tax, it's $5,000. But it is super nice. Infocon hit me up or got in contact, but they went with a different creator, so I don't get to try it out. I know Rick knows them pretty well, but It is nice. Like that's a good one if you do get it or have access to it. Like if your company buys it or you're able to get a hold of it, it looks cool and I'm sure it does the trick. Oh yeah, that one. That was one that I did too. The HSF tools. They sent me two. They paid me for that. They paid me for both videos. Um, and I told them, I was like, look, if it sucks, I'm probably just not gonna post it. But if it's good, I'll recommend it. Tried it out. I actually think it's on par with all the high end brands. Like it's just as good as my favorite was Hick Micro. I never liked the Fleer ones, whatever it's called. I just felt like Hick Micro had a little bit better quality. I think the HSF tools is like right there and it's like a fraction of the price. So I have no issues with them. That was a good one too. I got two of them. I gave them to my guys and they love them. So they've been really good. The HSF tools is rechargeable, USB-C rechargeable. Let me go through the comments real quick. But yeah, I'm like, well, now I got to get back to work. Tomorrow is reality. Had an awesome time in Milwaukee. Finally caught up on my sleep. Um, and like I said, I have another trip next month. Somebody said about the content. I might have two videos. I might have the one that's just strictly the tools I'll go through, and there was too many to go through, and it would have been maybe an hour long. So I just did the ones that I knew of and I went to and I kind of stumbled upon that I thought were either interesting or pertain to me. Like it's something that I would get because they had a lot of it was a lot of minor upgrades. I don't think there was anything crazy except the snowblower, but Milwaukee had a lot of new safety. Like the glasses look really cool, but I didn't get a rundown of that. I just saw them really quick. They had new rapid chargers. They had a lot of cool hand tools. I didn't really focus on the hand tools. A lot of that stuff is coming over or coming back to USA made. Like they already have a lot of sites here, like buildings and all that spread across, and they're trying to make more of their stuff here, and they are moving everything. So it's gonna take a while, but there is more made in USA stuff, and it's only gonna get better because they are focusing on it. So they had a lot of new hand tools that they've been working on here that looked really interesting. Some that I don't like. They catered to other trades, right? Electricians, all that. So they had the attachments for your impact that would strip solid strand wire, and then it would put the wire nuts on right with the drill. So like I'm like that stuff. It's cool, but I'm never gonna get it. I'm never gonna buy it because like I don't need that. So there was a few. There was like a rod runner. It's one of the like what's that other brand? I want to say it's Thread Daddy or something like that. And if you have the rod and you have the nut that you need to like, if you're hanging something, it does it for you with the drill. I know they had hand tools. I can't think of what they had right now. That had a lot of cool stuff. It was just gonna take me way too long to do everything. Yeah, sticking to test toe. Appreciate that. Make sure you hit the like button. Ever had a Corel EEV open slowly, 10 steps at a time? I don't think so. Typically, it gets back up to where it's supposed to be pretty quickly. Like, I know it gradually gets up there, but I've never seen it, like, take too long. Yeah. See, like, I'm barely getting back into hand tools. I will say Klein is pretty good, or like a pretty good choice because they do everything now. And so I have one. I think I have Weeha, right? I'm pretty sure. The only ones I have not tried is Wera. I do have, or I used to have Knipex Cobras. I think they got stolen. They were in that tool bag that got stolen. But like for the longest time, I didn't care about brand because I got my stuff stolen twice. I know I'm like a broken record with that, but like I got my stuff stolen twice, and I'm like, look, I really don't care anymore. I got Harbor Freight tools, and I still have some of those tools. I recently bought some Klein stuff to replace it, but the Milwaukee tools are like the newer stuff is looking pretty nice, especially that USA made stuff. So you know, you might see me use more Milwaukee in the future. I'm still particular to Klein because they make, like I said, everything. Like you can find what you need. Milwaukee still has like a few things that I would like for them to do, but it's getting better. I really like Milwaukee's 13-in-1 heavy duty. Would love to see them come out with more insulated tools. Yeah, that's why I had used or tried Weehaw is for like insulated stuff, and then Klein has the insulated screwdrivers, but the flip bit or the flip blade, whatever you call it. I use that one a lot. Milwaukee doesn't have something like that, so yeah, like there's just certain things that you can get with Klein that you can't get with Milwaukee or other brands. Well, the Weras and the Knipex are both like pretty pricey, which like I have like I'm not broke, and I was gonna talk about that in a video at some point. Like, yes, I have YouTube money, right, that I don't really use. It gets put away, and then I have my blue collar HVAC job, which it's not that it doesn't make enough money. I'm just very frugal. I don't like to spend. And lately, I've been spending more on family, right? These trips, weekends with the kids, date nights, whatever it is, like that's where I put the money. I just sometimes I don't want to pay like $100 for a couple of pliers or for one sometimes like and I have a lot of tools. They're just gonna pile up in the garage. Usually goes to 160 steps at start and then goes down. Seen it fully open at start, couldn't figure it out, having to go back tomorrow to get it going. Yeah, typically, what brand is this? But typically, pretty sure it closes and then it'll slowly open. And I think with Heatcraft, it's supposed to go back to whatever it was at the last cycle. I don't know. They explained it to me, but like I said, I'm not sure. But I've never seen that. I'm looking to get into wireless probes. I've been using the Testo digital gauges for years and use the app to see the gauges wirelessly. Are the field piece still a good option as of right now? So, I don't know if anybody else answered it, but yeah, toll money is expensive. It becomes like an expensive little hobby or like collecting them because like you're never gonna use them all once you start like upgrading, unless you, because I might give mine to the apprentices or something just so I can buy new ones at some point. I don't know. Probes, I think it's one and two. It's interchangeable. You can get field piece or testo and be perfectly fine. I have field piece because I liked that they were a little bit thinner and they fit in the tool bag because I cram it, or I like to use smaller tool bags and they fit in there really good. So the only issue I had with testo at the time, I don't know if it's changed. I'll see if I can get my hands on some soon. Is the power button. They would always turn on and they would always die because it has a button, and if I shoved it in my tool bag, it would turn on. Field piece, the button is flush with the body, so you never, or it's recessed a little bit, so you never turn them on by accident, and you gotta, I think you have to hold it to turn it on. Where Testo, they were just always turning on me, so I ended up switching. But I also had a field piece scale, a field piece manifold. Um, I had a lot of field piece products, so it made more sense because I like to use one app. So again, like you can use Tesla or you can use field piece. They're pretty interchangeable. I would not buy JB right now, and I would not buy Navac right now. So Testo and field piece to me are one and two, number one and number two. Go about it whichever way. If you're already in the Testo ecosystem, maybe just stick to that. Because they have a lot of other products that you can probably link up to that app. Like we mentioned earlier, the thermal imager uses that same app. All their test instruments, everything could use the same app. So yeah, if you already have the Testo gauges, you might want to, stick with those. And I do think, as good as field piece is, I do think I like the Testo gauges more. So if I could, I might switch to Testo. But I like my field piece probes. I don't know. Okay, so maybe they changed it. Because like when I had them, if you tapped it, they turned on. So um yeah, but if you, I don't know if you have the probes or the gauges, but like Testo is just as good. I don't want to say one is better than the other, but they're just as good. Fresh build, intelligent. Oh, the okay. This one has a field mounted copper tube. Something, is it insulated? I'm not saying, I'm not sure. I forgot what the symptom was that he told me, but he mentioned in our episode, if it's not insulated, that's a big problem that they see a lot too. Um, I've seen it where it comes out, but like he's saying, if it's not insulated when it's in that little copper tube, that it messes with that sensor. So I don't know. You want to switch to field piece? It just depends, man. If, because I do like their scale, I do like their probes slightly better. Um, I don't know if they have anything else. I don't think they have anything else coming out. I know the leak detector just came out. That's a good one to get too. Which testo gauges do you recommend? I would get the new ones. Like if you specifically want testo, let's see if we can pull it up before we get off. Testo has a new one that is like colored. Let's see. Digital manifold. And personally, because they have, or is it only a 4-port? No, they have a 3-port. Is their new one only a 4-port? That sucks. So let me see if I can switch over. So I was gonna say, you know, to get one of these colored ones from Testo, but it's a 4-port. Personally, I don't like 4-ports anymore because I'm not gonna pull a vacuum through my um gauges anymore. It's been kind of annoying lately to do that. So, you know, when you pull a vacuum, just use a hose, 3/8 hose at least, because they have their 3-ports down here, and these are the old versions. I would recommend the new one. I just don't know if they have it in a 3-port, because these colored ones are super nice, and I think that looks exactly like their app, if I'm not mistaken. So these are really cool. These are the ones that I want to switch to myself. It's touchscreen. Oh, it's touchscreen also, and USB-C rechargeable. You can see the charge port there. And it is like that is compact and easy to you know, take with you or just hold. I feel like my field piece they're nice, but I would prefer the Testo. Oh, it is heavily insulated. Oh, field mounted. Hmm. Yeah, the only thing trying to remember, because I've been working on Russell more now lately. Only 4-ports? That's dumb. I was gonna say, like, from now on I would recommend only 3-ports. That's the only bad thing. Trying to catch the wave of where we're going. Unfortunately, they only offer it in the 4-port, but I would highly recommend a 3-port option. But those are really cool. It's just I would never use the vacuum. I have an S-Man 4-port. I used it just to try it out, or I think I used it for a little bit to do like some refrigeration equipment, like small equipment. But I already stopped doing that because it just takes too long, and you have extra leak points. Like if your hoses are not sealed right, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that can happen. But yeah, these are the I don't know. Those are the nice ones. I'm gonna get to the comments really quick. It does look nice, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I've only worked on Russell now, so it's like I have to remember about the Heatcraft ones. But yeah, the only thing or the first thing I do is obviously, but I'm sure you already know, just to kind of monitor your transducers, your readings, your superheat, because I find a lot of them are just out of whack. That's whenever I start to second guess a new install or a callback right away, One of the sensors is just giving me trouble. What Milwaukee had is that? Well, I, I I'm pretty sure it's one of their main hats, but it's from the pipeline. We got a whole bunch of stuff. I'll show what I got at some point, but they have a whole bunch of new apparel, like hats and safety glasses are super nice. And they sent us some pants as well, or we got some pants as a gift for going to Pipeline. I think those are my new favorite pants. I'm gonna try them out this week. So like the pants have been really nice. They have the work skin shirts. I haven't tried them yet, but or I tried one. They feel nice. This hat is nice. It's like a mesh hat. These are the kinds the kind that I do like, and I kind of want to get these for my business. But what else did they have? They had new gloves. I didn't get to try that out, but the pants I think are going to be my favorite, and that's where I got this hat. They have hoodies and safety glasses. They have a lot of cool stuff that's coming out right now. What was I going to get to? RLS is having a sale for $2,300 for the tool, charger, 2 batteries, and 5 jaws. That is pretty cheap, isn't that? Yeah, Victor's like supposedly pressing is the future. So, let me see. What kind of work do you do? Do you do residential? Do you do commercial? For me, I do light commercial, so it's a lot of package units and walk-in boxes. Every now and then I do split systems, but it's not super common. I will press my walk-in boxes. I've had no issues with leaks. None of them have leaked, even in freezers. And I do use RLS in particular. So if you can I mean that's a pretty good deal, honestly. If you can get into it and you have something in mind to use it on, like for me, it's strictly for walk-in boxes or hospital work. So I am going to use it for hospital work where I can, because they don't like us using an open flame torch. So that's where I kind of use it. So if depending on what kind of work that you do, you might see a need for it. You might not. Some people are like, I'm never going to use it. I hardly use mine, I'll be honest, because I don't do a lot of brazing like weekly. But when I do use it, it's super nice. Like I can press in the evaporator, and because I'm a small business, like if you're by yourself or you work with one other person, small group, you're a small business, it's great because I typically do everything. I'm trying to teach more this year, so eventually, hopefully the guys can do all the installs and everything else. But typically I'm the main guy that does everything. So when we put a walk-in box in, I do the brazing, I do the leak checks, or I get help with the leak checks, but I do the brazing, I set up the nitrogen. Uh the guys will mount everything, right? Bolt everything down, set the evaporator in place, like all the lifting. I'll braze, I'll do the nitrogen, I'll check my brazes, check leak check, assemble anything like valves or solenoids, all that kind of stuff. I'll go on the roof and wire the rooftop condenser. Sometimes I get help with the wiring of the inside, but sometimes I have to do it. So if I can get on to the next thing quicker, that's where I enjoy using the press tool, because they can mount it. I can tell them just make sure that they leave me room to stub it in, And I just go in there with a coupling, press it in, press both, and then go to wiring, go do something else. And I never had to take, or at least I didn't have to take the nitrogen first. I could just go in there and, get it mounted, get it pressed in, and then go get the nitrogen. But I didn't have to get the nitrogen. I didn't have to get the torch, because those are the two heaviest things that you got to bring down to a job site. So if it eliminates that, for me, it makes it worth it, in my opinion. But I don't use it that much on AC work because I do RTUs, so that's not a big thing. I know guys that do residential like it because it's easy to press in either dryers or just getting a condenser in quicker or getting an evaporator in quicker, right? Because you're in an attic sometimes. It has its use case. Now, where I'm concerned is people cutting off the bells of the condensing unit. So until manufacturers give you longer stubs after the service valves, I'm hesitant to do any pressing, where I have to cut off the bell. Because then if you mess up the press, you're screwed, right? So, use it wisely, I would say, for condensers or for residential applications. And I've even done this before too. Like if I'm at the shop or at my house or whatever, like, and I have the equipment, prep it before you go out there. Like braise on some stubs to where you can press in the field. You can do it the night before, the morning of, whatever it is. Because I do that a lot for commercial walk-in boxes. If it needs to be assembled, like the TXV, solenoid, everything needs to be like brazed in. I'll do that before we get to the job site because I don't want to be doing all that there. So, that's just, where I find it helpful. And there's been times where I have to get into a drop ceiling, and I'm crawling up in a nasty space above the walk-in box, and we have a rub out, right? So where before I had to go back out, set up the nitrogen, because it leaked out, set up the nitrogen, take a torch up there in a weird, awkward space where like I said, I'm crawling around doing all that kind of stuff, and it's hot. You're burning stuff. It smells like, and you're burning off sometimes the oil of the refrigerant, and you get that. I forgot what it's called. I know it's called phosgene, but like there's another thing that happens. There's another reaction, and if you inhale that, it hurts. So if you don't have to do any of that, and you're in a weird attic space, like I've been several times, I would have loved to just cut out the piece that rubbed out, put in a coupling, press it, and get out of there, right? Super simple. And I will say, so RLS is the easy one to get into, because not only if you get it like a good deal on it, and also because it's usually readily available. So also check with your supply house and make sure that you can get these, because like at mine, I can pick up RLS fittings. That's why I use RLS, and I can also get it a little bit cheaper on True Tech Tools. So make sure you shop around, because people complain about the what do you call it? The price of the coupling, right? But like if I use 2 to 4 couplings, that might be close to $100, right? $80 or something like that. I don't think a customer is going to complain for an extra $100 on their bill. That's like thousands of dollars, right? It's like, you're charging 5,000, 10,000 plus 100. I don't think it's a big deal. So you came in with that comment just in time. Yeah, you're not going up a ladder. See, that's, oh my God. Maybe we'll talk about that on that HVAC nights, right? Thursday evening. So we had like like a mild, I would consider a mild heat wave, to where it was 108, 106 for like a couple weeks. It finally died down, and I'm just changing. Well, I'm doing a diagnosis on a rooftop, right? And I'm just changing like contactors and motors for the most part, but I have to go up and down a ladder several times, and I am already like, I've already sweated a few pounds of or a few buckets, right? So not having to take torches up, not having to take a huge nitrogen tank up there, um, makes a big difference for me to where I can justify the cost. So the thing is, recently, like I said, I was just changing out parts, and I have to go to the van, get something, I forget something, right? And I have to go back again, go up and down. Some days I'm just powering through it. And I'm like, just give me a little, like, I'm telling my body, just give me like 20 more minutes, give me 30 more minutes because my legs get shaky. I have torn ACL, bad knees, I've had surgeries, I have a bad back. I'm getting older. That's from my younger years. I've had those injuries for a long time. And then it's the heat. The sun is crazy, and I'm covered up now. If I wasn't covered up, I'd probably pass out. So, and then sometimes you forget to drink water. Like there's a bunch of things that go on during your calls, right? So I'm already going up and down the ladder just with one part, one bag, or something like that, one motor, going up and down several times, and I'm just trying to make it to the next 30 minutes, and I'm like, I can take a break after that. So yeah, it's just a lot on your body. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, but for me, it's worth it not to have to worry about certain things if I do need to fix a leak or put in a, like I said, a walk-in box or something like that. I am going to use it. So you can charge a fee. I've talked about this plenty of times, and I made the mistake when I started. When we started this business. Hey, I'm not going to charge a recovery fee. I'm not going to charge a torch fee or like a brazing fee, or there's different things for it. Not we did try the service fee and the trip fee and all that kind of stuff, but we kind of got rid of that and just charged what we use. We charge our time. So like we do charge like the trip to get there, and that kind of factors into our labor. But I charge but I charge for everything because you're going to lose money if you don't. So a press tool is the same thing. If you have a job that calls for it, it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be 20 bucks, it can be 50 bucks, whatever you want to do. I do commercial, so it's a little bit easier to kind of slip those in there, and the customer understands that. And it's like you can have a press tool fee or whatever you want to call it, and then the couplings, you just add them to your invoice. I don't do rates. So if you guys do rates for things like a leak, I don't know if you guys do any rates for like leak repairs or that kind of stuff. Just factor in the price. Like I said, it could be, at the most for me, it would be like 80 bucks, 90 bucks. They're not going to cry if it's like, if my ticket is like $700, but now it's $790, they're not going to say anything. They're not going to be upset about that. And I didn't eat the cost. I charged for the couplings, and they're paid for. So the initial cost for me is stocking up. So I do like to stock up, and I will have those on the van, and basically I will make that investment and then charge what I need to charge and then make it back several calls later, right? So you got to do a fee for everything. Yeah, and that's a good point. I never used to charge for like wire nuts or anything like that either. And I had this discussion with some guys and my dad, and because even then I'm like, didn't you guys, like, I'll look at the invoices and I'll be like, didn't you guys use wiring or wire nuts? Maybe it was PVC couplings or something. I'm like, didn't you use any of that? I don't care if it's $5. I don't care if it's $10 or like 159 each. If you use it, charge for it, because We used to, and we were guilty of it too. We used to think like, oh, it's like a few cents. Oh, it's a few dollars. Times that, if you get really busy, times that by however many times you use it per week, it's going to be hundreds of dollars by the end of the year, right? So you got to charge for everything. So my recovery gets paid for, and if it gives out, I got to be able to buy another one. The maintenance on some of these tools, oil, your leak, even your leak detection. I don't always do a fee, but I do try to factor in leak detector of some sort, whether it's electronic or bubbles. Like that stuff's not cheap. It's not free, so you got to charge. I charge for my time, so I make money on my labor. And it's different depending on what stage you are at, because I don't think we could have done that at the beginning. So like we did learn, and we did do some calls here and there on the cheap. And then you build up your portfolio, you build up your reputation, and it's okay to increase your price over time, right? Like every year we kind of evaluate now, should we go up $5, $10? Are we where we need to be in the market? We've been raising our prices the past few years, and I think it's warranted. Charge for everything. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, for national accounts. Okay. We when we started to raise our price, we tried to keep certain customers, and this was my dad, because I'm like, I want to get paid what I'm worth. So there was a little like back and forth. So my dad tried to keep the price, which was like $50 an hour. Like we charge double that now. So a lot of these customers got locked into that cheap labor, and my dad was like, okay, you can charge the new customers your price, but I need to keep the old customers at the cheap price. And it drove me nuts, but we finally got everybody up to par, and everybody understood. Nobody batted an eye. Every now and then we would get like a little remark like, why are you why are you raising the price on this? Why is it this? But then like they still need the work done. They still get it done. They still keep us because we do good work. And they don't say anything anymore. I could have used the press tool Friday braze a 1/5 5/8 economizer line on the bottom of a compressor. There's only 18 inches of space between the compressor feet to get to it. Yeah, that sucks. Yep, all messed up. That's why I am glad that we have apprentices now, and they are going they are going to be doing everything. Went with the Milwaukee press tool and a set of RLS jaws. It comes in handy to have the normal press jaws for water line repairs in addition to RLS. I don't know what the price point comes out if you buy them separate, but that is a good point. We don't do a lot of we used to uh minor plumbing here and there, but we don't do that anymore. So I can't even say that I would need it. But I was gonna make the point that Milwaukee in particular is like what do you call it? They're really into the streamline, which is I think Mueller Mueller streamline, I believe, the press, and those are the double O-ring um press couplings, because at the pipeline, I don't know if you guys had seen it. I think me and Jake talked about it last week, or a few days ago when we got on HVAC nights. Now they have a pivot ring adapter, so you can, if you're in a tight spot and you can't fit a press tool in there, the streamline ACR press fittings are going to give you that extra. They're a completely different jaw and adapter, so it's going to be a whole other investment, but it's an option. I was like, man, I wish you would have done that for RLS. I already have the RLS stuff, and Streamline is doing that because Milwaukee, like I said, does a lot with them. They work with them closely, so that's why that's happening. But yeah, if you get RLS, they're a little more available. Streamline, I haven't seen too much of, but like I said, Milwaukee's really behind them. RLS, you can usually get at your supply house or True Tech Tools, and I might at some point get to try the Nipco. There's another player in the game, Nipco press fittings, and they have a tool themselves, so maybe at some point we'll try them out. The only one I would not, and no shade to Parker Sportland, I do love their filter dryers and their TXVs, but I've heard bad things about Zoom Lock, so I would stay away from Zoom Lock. Um, and I only say that because I've had a couple of stories, particular one in particular at AHR where I met up with a guy that was kind of local to me. He said he went up to a job because he does heavy commercial. They had a job that had like, I don't know, 20 or more fittings of Zoom Lock. And it could have been user error, could have been whatever, but I just don't like the hex press on them. It's not a full circle, it's a hex press. He said every single one leaked, and his company went in because it wasn't working and they found that they all leaked. They had to cut out everything. So I mean that sucks. Uh hold on. I was lost in the chat. Carrier is spearheading that movement. We just installed O'Brien and I had to open the lines up to create. Oh, okay. Like, I don't know if I hate that. Maybe some people would because you got to take that extra step if you're not pressing. But again, I have the battery powered tube expander. And even when I had the hydraulic one, it was not that hard. I just have to go back to the truck, like you said, do the tube expansion, and you're good to go. But yeah, if that's what I had heard, so if that is happening, you might see certain brands that just have no bells whatsoever, and you have to, do the expansion yourself. Imagine that labor costs are going to vary from market to market. We Our average for our market being 98% residential. It's well below 300. I have no idea what residential is around here. The last time I checked with anybody, commercial was like up to like 150 an hour. We are right under that. And if we were to go up, to 300, nobody would call us. It is different market to market. I live in a very low cost of living area. You can buy a house. Well, it's a little different right now, but you can buy a house for like 100,000, like a decent house. Um, Gas is always $2. I don't know. Everything's cheap here, so we cannot be too expensive. We do it, or we do try to be up there, just because we want to weed out. And I don't want to be like, that reminds me of a local place that wanted me to go by, and I just haven't had time. Um, we try to weed out the bad customers or the cheap customers because it never fails. They want so much done right away, and they take forever to pay, or they question everything on the invoice. And I get it. There's some bad companies out there, but like, I mean, I have no problem explaining what I did, but if you're still looking at me like that you don't see it's worth it, then I don't want to do that kind of work. So We do a lot of bigger national accounts, and they understand that we always, for the most part, offer same day service and same day repair. And we will stay late. We will come in on the weekends if it's an emergency. So, yeah, we just try to be up there, but we can't be too expensive. I haven't messed. I'll ask Jake. I'm pretty sure it is hard drawn. Um, and yes, the reason I picked RLS as well was because it was soft copper and it would basically weld itself when it was pressed because it was a full circle press. It wasn't that hex kind of press, so that's the same reason that I used it. So if Streamline is hard drawn copper, then that maybe explains the double O ring. It's not so much a redundancy; it's just a fail safe because it's not soft copper. Oh, okay. Well, we kind of do the same thing with maintenance. So our maintenance contracts are typically cheap because they'll give us 20 stores, right? And it's 20 stores AC maintenance, those same 20 stores refrigeration maintenance. We have a hospital that gives us, we don't do AC there, but we do refrigeration. Um, there's a dishwasher maintenance, there's a steamers maintenance, there's ovens maintenance, and we don't do the fryer, somebody else does it. But if they give us a lot of work or month, like the hospital is monthly work, all those maintenances that I mentioned, so they do get a good rate. And that other national account, which we just got another one that wants the same thing, where it's like 20 stores for AC and 20 and another, and it's the same 20 stores, but we get to bill again for refrigeration. So that's already a ton of money. They'll get a cheaper rate too. So we try to play with that a little bit too. But if it's time and material, I am charging, for everything full price. What is Dollar Tree up to right now? It's not a dollar anymore. I heard it's going to be $2. Later, Mike. I don't know if I think I answered it. The Navac battery powered tube expander. I will not go back to anything else, but people like the Hilmore one. I don't have the Hilmore one. It's hydraulic as well, or it's hydraulic, and Navac has a hydraulic one too. Those are great. I used to do the old block where you would clamp in your pipe, you would put in the attachment, and then turn it by hand and then like wrench down on it. That worked for the longest time. That's what I had before. And basically, I did hydraulic for a long time, but you still got to know how to use it because you can crack the pipe. But yeah, hydraulic works just fine. I just think the battery powered is so nice when you're on a rooftop and stuff and you got to do like 3 or 4 expansions. You just change the head, press the button, and you're done with it. So I like that. That's one of my favorite tools to have is that battery powered tube expander. We used to handle 6 Menards stores. I liked it to go straight to residential. They tried to pay me half of my invoice with store credit. I've never. We don't do that. Those kinds of stores. Like I said, we do mostly restaurants. Every now and then, which is why I don't always take like the food. I'm just worried because they've made comments before, like, "Oh, we can pay you in food. We can help you here. We can give you discounts all the time. We can whatever." And it's like, just just pay me my invoice, right? Up to 175. I bet you it's going to be $2 pretty soon. If they complain about the price of an honest HVAC tech, they will get a scam artist. So I mean, that's why we don't lose a lot of work. The only ones we lose, it's like the rundown places where it's not gonna bother them that much. But our good customers, whenever they do try to get a second opinion and they get screwed, then they got to get us to go. I've been begged after another company goes in to do a second opinion and gets the job. I've been begged to go back because it is not working or they made it worse. Dollars Tree. Make sure you add that as. Oh, there we go. Hillmore Swage is awesome. Had mine since 2017. Works outstanding. And it goes up, or you probably have to get them separate, but it goes up to 2 1/8 inch. The Navac one doesn't go up that high. Oh, okay, I got you. Um, Hillmore, like their tools, they do have a hydraulic expander. That's what they were asking, or was that who was that that asked? Oh, okay, you asked. Yeah, they do have a hydraulic one, and Jason has it. He says he's still using it. Works great. Hillmore is one of those that's tried and true and reliable. I've never had an issue with a Hillmore, or no real issue with a Hillmore tool. It's just a lot of their lineup is still from 10 years ago, right? I mean, that's a good and a bad thing, right? I would love for them to do these little upgrades, like have USB-C instead of micro USB, or add a better display, or whatever. Like I would love these little upgrades. But on the flip side, if they're still good 10 years later and they're still selling it, they're still getting recommendations like Jason, myself, I do recommend Hillmore a lot, then they're doing something right. So on my van, I have quite a bit of Hillmore stuff, and that was before I ever worked with them. Like I bought a lot of my Hillmore stuff and it works great. The only other company I kind of trust with bending and tube expanders is Navac, but Hillmore is just as good. Hillmore also has a tube bender that is that I used forever. I had that thing, I loved it. So only recently did I get the Navac battery powered one because I'm getting old and I wanted to lighten the load a little bit. And yeah, you can't go wrong with Hillmore. They have a good tube, the hydraulic one. I don't know if they have a manual one. Just get, if you're gonna get one, get a hydraulic one. Oh, you have a sticker. If you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait till you hire an amateur. Yeah. And sometimes they don't learn because I've mentioned this before. I mean, we're gonna get off. I ran way too long, but I mentioned this before. Sometimes it is actually cheaper for them to get a somebody that does side work, somebody that works them like only by themselves, and they might not do good work, but they are super cheap. It might be cheaper for them to hire that person to install it, because those are the ones that we lose a lot, is like the installs, or the ones that I refuse to fix until they do something, right? Until they fix a walk-in door, until they fix the plumbing, until, like, I always tell them, or not always, but like there's sometimes where I tell them this has to be done before I can properly check it. Which, I mean, there's no, I'm not lying there. It's just like if you have a bad door and you're complaining about ice in the walk-in, fix the door first, and then I'll fix the walk-in. But and it might fix itself because the door is usually the problem. But yeah, sometimes it's cheaper for them to get somebody like that to install it, And then for me to go in there and just charge an hour or two and kind of fix up everything that they messed up. And it's sometimes cheaper that way versus paying us to do it right because we want to get all the right materials. We want to do all this and get the, do it the right way. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just cheaper for them to go that route. Yeah, it's just not flashy, but it works. Not an IG company. They are word of mouth, someone who has something and they say it worked good. I will recommend them all day long because people ask me about the leak detector. I was like, yeah, I loved it until I left it out in the rain, but that was my fault. We had a horrible storm and that thing got flooded and it didn't work after that. I recently got another one and that's the one that I'm using right now. So like I Hillmore was our favorite, you know, before, and my brother loves Hillmore, like the hand tools and the some of their other stuff. He has other things from them, and they were the ones, speaking of back, back then, they were the ones that started, in my opinion, because I don't think Malco was doing flip bits at the time. They were doing those nut drivers that the whole shaft would flip, and it was 5/16 and quarter inch. That was the tool to have back in the day. Me and my brother always had one. My dad had one. And if we lost it, we would immediately go buy another one. So Hillmore always had the cool tools back in the day. Now it's all about flip sockets, so that's a completely different thing. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna get off. I really enjoy these Sunday evenings, getting to talk to you guys, hanging out. It's always great. These are great conversations, and thanks again to FASTSTAT for kind of sponsoring these live streams. I would still do it no matter what, but they've been super helpful to the channel doing these things. That ends this week. Next week we have another sponsor. I'll get into that. Yeah, for next month. But I really enjoy these. These are fun. Always good to have. I always end up going longer than I want to, or I plan to. I usually plan for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes even 30 minutes. And here we are, almost 2 hours. So really enjoy the conversations. Be sure this coming Tuesday to check out or just this channel. The podcast will be live again. We're going to have HVAC Nate, and we're going to get into some sales talk and the good, the bad, the ugly, everything about sales. And make sure you check out that podcast Tuesday evening. That'll be live one more time before we go back to our regularly scheduled program. I've been out of town. The Milwaukee thing was super fun. And I haven't had a chance to do the podcast. I do have a podcast with, oh, what's up, Tommy? I do have a podcast that I did with Milwaukee. I ended up like hosting one there. That's on their channel. I'll let you guys know when that comes out. And I'm super excited for that one. And yeah, we'll catch you on Tuesday and we'll catch you on Thursday with HVAC Nights. I don't remember if I have an outro. Yeah, I do. So appreciate you guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys hopefully on Tuesday.